In the year 1014, Byzantine Emperor Basil II captured 15,000 Bulgarian soldiers and blinded every single one of them, leaving only one man in every 100 with a single eye to guide the others home. This horrific event earned him the nickname the Bulgar Slayer. But what could possibly drive an emperor to commit such an act of extreme cruelty? Was Basil simply a ruthless tyrant, or was there a deeper strategy behind this brutal decision? And how did this one day change the course of history for the entire Balkan region? To understand the answer, we need to go back to the very beginning of this epic clash between two empires, a war marked by betrayal, ambition, and ultimate revenge. Basil II, born into the powerful Macedonian dynasty, didn't start out as a ruthless warrior. When his father, Emperor Romanos II, died in 963 CE, Basil was just a child, too young to rule. For years, regents and military leaders like Nikephoros II Phocas and John I Simois ruled the Byzantine Empire in his place. But when Basil came of age, he took full control of the empire with a singular focus: to strengthen Byzantine rule and crush any threat to its power. His greatest threat? The Bulgarian Empire, led by the cunning Tsar Samuel, who had been a thorn in Byzantium's side for decades. The two empires were locked in a fierce struggle for control of the Balkans, a war that would last for nearly 40 years. Tsar Samuel was no ordinary opponent. For years, he led the Bulgarian Empire in resisting Byzantine advances. His forces were skilled, and he was a master of guerrilla warfare, using the rough terrain of the Balkans to his advantage. Despite many attempts, Basil found it nearly impossible to break through Samuel's defenses. The war dragged on, filled with skirmishes, battles, and bloodshed on both sides. But Basil II was nothing if not persistent. He was not just a man of the palace. He was a soldier who fought on the front lines with his men, earning their respect and loyalty. Over time, he reorganized his military, rebuilt his strength, and prepared for a final blow that would end the Bulgarian threat once and for all. But no one could have predicted the sheer brutality of what was about to unfold. The key moment came at the Battle of Kleidion on July 29, 1014. Tsar Samuel had fortified his army in a narrow mountain pass, believing it to be impenetrable. But Basil, known for his tactical genius, devised a plan that would outsmart the Bulgarian forces. While part of his army engaged the Bulgarians head-on, Basil sent another detachment, led by his trusted general Nikephoros Xiphias, on a hidden route through the mountains. This surprise attack caught the Bulgarian forces from behind, leading to a crushing defeat for Tsar Samuel's army. The Byzantine forces took 15,000 Bulgarian soldiers as prisoners, an overwhelming number by any standard. But what Basil did next would shock even the hardened warriors of the medieval world. Instead of treating the prisoners with mercy or simply executing them, Basil ordered a mass blinding of the 15,000 captured soldiers. Every one of the prisoners was blinded, except for one in every 100 men, who was left with one eye to guide the others home. This brutal procession of blinded soldiers was sent back to Tsar Samuel, a devastating psychological blow to the Bulgarian Empire. According to chroniclers of the time, when Samuel saw his blinded army, he was so overcome with grief and shock that he collapsed and died of a heart attack just 2 days later. Why did Basil blind them? So why did Basil II commit such a horrific act? Was it simple cruelty, or was there a strategic reason behind it? Blinding was a common punishment in the Byzantine Empire, often used to neutralize enemies without killing them. By blinding the soldiers, Basil ensured they would never fight again. But it was also a calculated act of psychological warfare. By sending the blinded soldiers back to their homeland, Basil aimed to break the spirit of the Bulgarian people and send a clear message: resistance is futile. It worked. The sight of 15,000 blinded men returning home not only shattered the morale of the Bulgarian army, but also demoralized the entire nation. It showed that the Byzantine Empire would stop at nothing to assert its dominance. With Samuel dead and the Bulgarian forces weakened, Basil II pressed his advantage. Over the next few years, he continued his campaigns against Bulgaria, and in 1018, he achieved his ultimate goal, the complete conquest of Bulgaria. After decades of war, the First Bulgarian Empire collapsed, and Bulgaria became part of the Byzantine Empire. This victory solidified Basil II's reputation as one of the greatest Byzantine emperors and earned him the title Bulgar Slayer. For the next century, the Byzantine Empire would enjoy relative peace and stability, with its northern borders secure from Bulgarian invasions. To this day, historians debate whether Basil II was excessively brutal or simply pragmatic. In the context of medieval warfare, his methods, though shocking, were not unique. In a world where rulers often used extreme measures to maintain power, Basil's actions were part of a broader strategy to ensure the long-term survival and strength of the Byzantine Empire. But the blinding of 15,000 men remains one of the most infamous events in medieval history. It is a reminder of the brutal realities of warfare in a time when mercy was often seen as weakness. Basil II died in 1025, having reigned for nearly 50 years, one of the longest reigns in Byzantine history. He left behind a powerful and stable empire, but his successors struggled to maintain the gains he had made. Without his leadership, the empire gradually weakened, leading to future invasions and crises. Basil's actions at the Battle of Kleidion forever marked him as one of the most feared and powerful emperors of the medieval world. His nickname, the Bulgar Slayer, is a testament to his victory, but also to the cost of that victory. Thousands of lives shattered, thousands of futures blinded in a single day. So, was Basil II a cold-hearted tyrant, or a brilliant strategist who did what was necessary to secure his empire's future? That's for you to decide, but one thing is certain. His legacy is one of the most unforgettable in history.